We went for an hour, a couple little ones.
Welcome to the October 11th, 2021 meeting of the Sandusky City Commission. I have an invocation offered by Commissioner Harris, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
We'll begin things just with a quote. A city is not gauged by its length and width, but by the broadness of its vision and the height of its dreams. Father God, I ask that you continue to give us the foresight to address current and future needs of this city in an attempt to create a prosperous and sustainable future. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Cresser, will you call the roll, please?
Mr. Brady?
Here.
Ms. Twine?
Here.
Mr. Waddington?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Meinzer?
Here.
Mr. Poole?
Present.
Mr. Murray?
Here.
Commissioners, you have before you the minutes of our meeting of September 27th, 2021. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Waddington.
I move that we accept the minutes of the September 27th meeting and dispense with the formal reading.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Without objection, the motion will be approved. Hearing no objection, that motion is approved. Are there any residents in the audience that have questions or comments pertaining to tonight's agenda? If you would step to the microphone, tell us your name and address. We'll hear your thoughts. Seeing no one coming to the microphone, we'll move on. Commissioners, you have before you several communications from staff recommending various legislation. Can I have a motion to accept these communications?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. Without objection, that motion will be approved. Hearing no objection, that motion is approved. Commissioners, surprisingly enough, we have no consent items on the agenda tonight to consider. We will turn directly to our regular agenda. Ms. Cresser, we present item number 1, please.
Yes, item number 1 is an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Super Games of Columbus, Ohio for the rental of a synthetic ice rink and equipment to be located at the Jackson Street Pier, and declaring that this ordinance shall take immediate effect in accordance with section 14 of the city charter.
Commissioners, having heard this ordinance, how do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Harris.
I move for the adoption of this ordinance under suspension of the rules in full accordance with section 14 of the city charter.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Mr. Whirling, I see your name is attached to this piece of legislation. I wonder if you can share with us some of the specifics of what we're doing here.
Sure, through you, Commissioner Brady. This is Jason. We are planning on having a synthetic ice rink. The size is about 36 by 40 foot to be in the spot. If you had been down, if anyone's been down to the pier for the Party at the Pier concerts, it would be right where the stage was set up. This is through funds donated by Savista Bank, and we will plan on having the ice rink open Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays from Thanksgiving through the Martin Luther King Jr. weekend. The skating will be for free, but there will be a rental fee for renting the skates. And then we also look to have it open at other times when school is out on break. We'll plan on having other times open for the rink.
Questions or comments, Commissioners? Ms. Cresser, call the roll on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And now on the ordinance.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. Ms. Cresser, you present item number 2, please.
Yes, item number 2 is an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to enter into a municipal master lease agreement with Yamaha Motor Finance Corporation USA of Cypress, California for 12 Glacier White Yamaha gas golf cars through Lake Golf Cars LLC of Warrensville Heights, Ohio for the Mills Creek Golf Course for the period of November 15, 2021 through November 14, 2026, and declaring that this ordinance be passed in accordance with Section 14 of the city charter.
Commissioners, having heard this ordinance, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Waddington.
I move for the adoption of this ordinance on the suspension of the rules in full accordance with Section 14 of the city charter.
Second.
Been a motion and second discussion. My understanding is Mr. Waddington has taught me over the years that these are not actually called golf carts. They're called buggies. So I am in favor of this legislation, and I and Mr. Waddington both will call them buggies from now on. Additional comments or questions, Commissioners?
It's a bogey.
Ms. Cresser, you call roll on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And now on the ordinance.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. Ms. Cresser, you present item number 3, please.
Yes, item number 3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for services with the Erie County General Health District Board of Health for bulky and solid waste vehicle inspection services for the period of December 1, 2021 through November 30, 2022, and declaring that this resolution shall take immediate effect in accordance with Section 14 of the city charter.
Commissioners, having heard this resolution, how do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Murray.
I move for the adoption of this resolution under suspension of the rules in accordance with Section 14 of our city's charter.
Second.
Been a motion and second discussion. Ms. Cresser, you call roll on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And now on the resolution.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That resolution is passed. Ms. Cresser, you present item number 4, please.
Item number 4 is an ordinance authorizing and directing the city manager to dispose of 69 Glock 34 Gen 4 9mm caliber duty weapons, 2 Remington M700 rifles, 15 Remington 870 shotguns, 60 Streamlight TLR-1 lights, and 12-gauge shotgun ammunition from the Sandusky Police Department as having become unnecessary and unfit for city use pursuant to Section 25 of the city charter, and authorizing the city manager to purchase 55 SIG P320 Pro 9mm duty weapons from Vance Outdoors Incorporated of Columbus, Ohio, through the State of Ohio Department of Administrative Services Cooperative Purchasing Program for the Sandusky Police Department, and declaring that this ordinance immediate effect in accordance with Section 14 of the city charter.
Commissioners, having heard this ordinance, how do you wish to proceed?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Meinzer.
I move the resolution of this ordinance under suspension of the rules in full accordance with Section 14 of the city charter.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Ms. Cresser, you call roll on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
And now on the ordinance.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That ordinance is passed. Ms. Cressy, present item number 5, please.
Yes, item number 5 is notice to legislative authority from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for a new C2 liquor permit for Flash Enterprises Incorporated, doing business as Flash Drive-Thru, 802 Hancock Street. And it is requested the commission authorize the interim commission clerk to notify the Division of Liquor Control. The city does not request a hearing for this permit transfer. I'm sorry, new liquor permit.
Commissioners, having heard this request for hearing, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Waddington.
I move that the commission clerk notify the Ohio Division of Liquor Control that the city does not request a hearing on this matter.
Second.
Got a motion and a second discussion. Ms. Cressy, you poll the commission on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That motion is passed, and we do not request a hearing on that liquor permit. That concludes our regular agenda. We'll now turn to our city manager for his report.
Thank you, Commission President Brady, Commissioners, audience, and staff. I will start with donations. The first, the Erie County Sheriff's Office, through the Erie County Commissioners, donated unused weight equipment to the Sandusky Police Department. I'd ask for a motion to accept that donation.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Without objection, the motion be approved, and hearing no objection, that motion is approved with our thanks to the Sheriff's Department.
Second, Sandusky Rec would like to thank Matt Keach of Cameo Pizza for his donation of pizza for the inaugural Sunset Cruise that served as a thank you to all of our volunteer board and commission members. Cameo's been in business in Sandusky for well over 80 years and is always stepping up to do great things like this. So we'd ask for a motion to accept their generous donation as well.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Without objection, that motion be approved. Hearing no objection, the motion is approved with our thanks to Matt Keach and the Cameo Pizza.
Public Works, grinder number 1 at the Venice Road lift station failed last week, and it's imperative to install a replacement unit to ensure the long-term protection of the pump impellers. If the heavy solids that are common at this location are not ground up with a Muffin Monster channel grinder, the pumps would risk being fully plugged, causing backups throughout the sanitary sewer system that discharges to the lift station. Staff is requesting emergency approval to immediately purchase a new unit for $21,381 from JWC Environmental, as delivery schedules are very unpredictable. We would ask for a motion for that tonight, and we'd bring back legislation at the next meeting, but this just came up this morning. So we'd ask for a motion for approval to make that emergency purchase.
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Ms. Cresser, would you poll the commission on that motion, please?
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That motion is approved.
We'd also like to extend a huge thank you to the Sandusky's Gentlemen's Club once again for their help at Dump Day. They're one of our most trusted and strongest volunteers. Also, Streets and Traffic will begin citywide leaf collection on November 15th. The schedule is posted on the city's website and social media pages. There will be a drop-off area for bagged leaves near the Marquette Drive entrance to the City Service Center, starting October 25th through Friday, January 21st. For questions about the city's leaf collection program, call 419-627-5829. And then in preparation for the holiday season, horticulture staff has started to remove flowering planters in various locations throughout the downtown business district and waterfront. In coming weeks, they will begin stringing lights in Washington Park and hanging light pole garlands and banners along downtown streets. For the planning department, the state of Ohio will accept applications through November 18th for up to 73 new medical marijuana dispensary licenses. Planning staff is assisting a number of businesses that are considering sites in Sandusky to propose new dispensary facilities.
Staff would also like to thank all of the city officials, staff, and residents that attended the neighborhood ice cream socials over the past 6 weeks. The feedback that was gathered will be summarized and presented at the next city commission meeting. Also, the Arts and Culture Commission meeting will be Tuesday, October 19th at 5:15. A special landmark commission meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, October 20th at 5 p.m. The Board of Zoning Appeals meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 21st at 4:30 p.m. And Planning Commission is scheduled for Wednesday, October 27th at 5 p.m. That concludes my remarks for this evening. I'm happy to answer any questions or take comments. Thank you.
Commissioners, questions, concerns for the city manager?
Chairman,
Commissioner Murray?
just a brief item of note. I did not get down to the cleanup day, but because I was at the Blue Streak 5K, I understand the participation was lower this year, and I think in the past we've counted on the register to get the word out. Didn't seem to happen. I know we have a new communications director, and hopefully that'll make a difference. But just wanted to make sure we kept that in mind. I don't know a good way to get the word out. A lot of folks I ran into were quite surprised to know that it had occurred the weekend before. So just some response.
Thank you.
Additional items, questions for the city manager, Commissioner? Not, we'll move to items of old business. Any items of old business, Commissioners? Items of new business. Any items of new business, Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Murray?
I request an executive session regarding pending litigation and real estate.
Second.
Been a motion and a second discussion. Ms. Cresser, you poll the commission on the motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That executive session is set. Additional items of new business. I have a request for a motion to appoint a person who I believe we have circulated their application to commissioners. Person I'd like to appoint to the Landmark Commission is Kima Yandel. I believe all of you have received her application. I actually sat through an interview with her. I was quite impressed. I would ask for a motion to appoint her to the Landmark Commission with a term that ends December 31st of 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second discussion. Ms. Cresser, you poll the commission on that motion, please.
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That appointment is set. Additional item of new business, our select committee on the hiring of our new commission clerk, which was made up of Commissioner Twine, our interim commission clerk, Kelly Cresser, and our HR department are prepared to make a recommendation to this commission, and I will turn to Commissioner Twine for that recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As mentioned by Commissioner Brady, myself, as well as Commission Clerk Kelly Cresser, as well as a representative from the HR department, interviewed several people. We had 6 people signed up to interview. One dropped out because they got another job, so we did interview 5 people. I think there were a large number of people that applied for the position. So I thought that was a good thing. But we did settle on one, and that person's name is Kathy Myers. Ms. Myers has many, many years of public service, most recent as a finance director for one of the smaller municipalities. She did very well in the interview. She's very personable. Again, has a history of government experience, public service experience. She also has a number of years of service at the state level also. So I think she comes well prepared to be successful in the job. Of course, Kelly cannot be replaced. Kelly has done a wonderful job. Yes, Kelly has done a wonderful job as commission clerk for many, many years. And we look forward to, hopefully, if Ms. Myers is appointed tonight, hopefully Ms. Cresser will be able to train with her for a few weeks to get her kind of acclimated to the city of Sandusky. Again, I think she's a great candidate. So I'd like to request or make a motion that we hire Kathy Myers for the salary of $50,000 per year, as well as 2 weeks vacation.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Discussion. Ms. Cresser, will you call a roll on the motion, please?
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That motion is passed, and we have a new commission clerk. And Ms. Myers, your timing is perfect.
Ta-da.
I'm glad we passed that motion. Ms. Myers is with us this evening. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Ms. Myers, and say a few words, step to the podium, please.
Thank you. I look forward to serving the city of Sandusky. I'm a graduate of Sandusky High School, so this is my hometown, and you never forget that first love, right? So I'm very excited to work with everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations. Additional items of new business.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Murray.
you've handed me a note that says we need an executive session for personnel Eric's evaluation.
Second.
City Manager.
Been a motion and a second. Discussion. Ms. Cresser, will you poll the commission on that motion, please?
Mr. Brady?
Yes.
Ms. Twine?
Yes.
Mr. Waddington?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Meinzer?
Yes.
Mr. Poole?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
That executive session is set. Any additional items of new business, commissioners? Are there any residents that'd like to provide a comment on any item affecting city business? I ask you to step to the microphone, identify yourself, and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
Hi, my name is Tom Baskin, 815 Barchar Road. Tonight, I just want to, we all got the letter in the mail, and I understand Section 82 directs the clerk of the commission to send out a copy of any change to the charter, but I'm having trouble finding out where the commission gains authority to then either support or oppose in the letter. In fact, I believe Section 65 says that when it comes to initiatives and referenda, the city defers to the State of Ohio ORC. And if that is the case, then the ORC rules on newsletters kick in, and everything that is in this, or not everything, but everything outside of the wording of the actual petition would not be permitted. So if somebody can somehow let the whole city know how that authority comes. And secondly, I just want to read a letter because we may not see it in the newspaper, but Professor Arnold Oliver, he's Professor Emeritus of Political Science at Heidelberg, and he has written that there is considerable confusion around Issue 2 on Sandusky's election ballot this year, and he says early voting is now underway. In my view, and mine alone, the Issue 2 proponents have not been accorded a fair opportunity to make their case. Let's examine the controversy. First of all, and most importantly, the initiative does not propose a ward-based system, as has been loudly claimed by the city officials and others. On the contrary, it proposes a mix of ward and at-large representation. These three commission seats would still be elected at large and by all the city's voters. and 4 seats would come from electoral districts, wards within the city. There would still be 3 at-large commissioners tasked with looking at the big picture, such as it is. It is quite simply disingenuous to claim that the proposal is simply ward-based. That is just not true. In general, what the ward at-large proposal aims to do is to bring government closer to the people. The city commissioner from your ward will become a contact point between you and the city government and will be a go-to person for neighborhood problems. To my mind, bringing the government closer to the people is a good thing. The current entirely at-large system used in Sandusky is not good at geographical representation. Only one current commissioner lives west of Columbus Avenue, and that just barely. A key aspect of at-large electoral systems that is not well known is that such systems are not very democratic. In an article from Nonprofit Vote, it is pointed out that Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg cited this method as a way to deny equal opportunity for minority voters and candidates. In case it has escaped your attention, Sandusky now uses just such an electoral system. Why are at-large systems less democratic? Well, Nonprofit Vote points out that such electoral systems are characterized by anti-democratic math, using plurality rules. 50% of the voters can, if they mostly support the same candidates, win all the seats. In fact, the majority bloc doesn't even have to compose 50% of the electorate. For example, 60 years after Lowell, Massachusetts switched to at-large voting, the school committee remains all white and almost all the city council members come from one neighborhood, even as more than half the city is now minority. At-large electoral systems did not appear by accident. They were understood and intended to be less democratic from the beginning of the republic. After the at-large elections, to ensure white-only governments, northern cities did the same to advantage ethnic groups or parties, per Nonprofit Vote. In fact, at-large electoral systems were deemed so anti-democratic that versions of them were outlawed by the landmark 1965 Voting Rights Act. If Sandusky decides to go with the ballot issue 2 proposal, which is a reasonable compromise between the ward and at-large systems, the neighborhoods will have a stronger voice. And that's from Arnold Oliver, Professor Emeritus, Political Science, Heidelberg University. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baskin. We'll turn your question over to our law department.
All right.
Additional comments from residents regarding any issue regarding city business? If not, we will adjourn to executive session.
In here. Vic, you staying here? We staying here?
anything negative about that.
Man, I'm
Like I said, that's like, I just, yeah. It's like answer prayers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Stuart.
Mics are hot, just like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hot mic.
All right, Naomi, remember that, the mics are hot. Don't want you getting caught saying something.
You have Wes coming down, or is he leaving?
He'll be right here.
IEA said he had to use the restroom.
Let's come in here and adjourn it. Yeah. Okay, mics are hot. Naomi, be quiet.
Don't embarrass yourself.
He good. He's in the mirror preparing his next argument.
Mike?
Oops.
There's no hope.
I tease him all the time.
He is upstairs. Yeah, he'll be right here. It reminds me of that old saying, you can lead a, what is it? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
There he is.
There he is.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So, second.
We're adjourned.